And here is the writer's Almanac for the Ides of March, Friday, March the 15th, 2019. In Shakespeare's Julius Caesar the Soothsayer said, "Beware the Ides of March." It was on this day in 44 BC that Caesar was assassinated by a group of about 60 conspirators. They called themselves the Liberators. One of the leaders was Marcus Brutus, whose mother had been one of Caesar's lovers and whom Caesar helped to establish in government. 1956, on this day, the musical My Fair Lady opened on Broadway, starring Julie Andrews and Rex Harrison, based on the play Pygmalion by George Bernard Shaw, who had died in 1950, and so he was powerless to prevent Alan J. Lerner and Frederick Loewe from changing his story. George Bernard Shaw was sure that Eliza would have married the young man, Freddie, and not Henry Higgins, but the musical leaves you believing that she would. Go with Henry Higgins, that is. It's the birthday of the biographer Richard Ellman, born in Highland Park, Michigan, 1918, went to Yale, studied literature, started to write his dissertation on William Butler Yeats, and then World War II broke out. He enlisted. He was stationed in London. He took a leave to go visit Dublin. He met the widow of Yeats, Georgie Yeats, and she told him all sorts of stories about her late husband and opened up his study, his bookcase, all his manuscripts, his letters, his journals, which led to Ellman's biography, Yeats, The Man and the Masks. It came out in 1948. 11 years later, he published his biography, James Joyce, which won the National Book Award. Anthony Burgess called it the greatest literary biography of the century. And just before Richard Ellman died, he finished his last great biography, Oscar Wilde, in which he wrote, "Of all writers, Wilde was perhaps the best company. Always endangered, he laughs at his plight, and on his way to the loss of everything, jollies society for being so much harsher than he is, so much less graceful, so much less attractive." It was on this date, 1985, the first Internet domain name was registered, a company called Symbolics.com. Before the Internet, there was ARPANET, which came online in 1969, a project of the Advanced Research Projects Agency, ARPANET, originally connected large computers at 4 universities in California and Utah. It was used by engineers, scientists, librarians. They brought in email, 1972, file sharing in 1973. Before the advent of the domain name, hosts were represented by their numerical address on a computer network, but those were hard to remember. So along came Symbolics.com in 1985. That year there were only 6 domain names, .coms. By 1992, there were fewer than 15,000. In 2010, there were 84 million. Here's a poem by Barbara Crooker, "Why I Love Being Married to a Chemist." Because he can still cause a reaction in me when he talks about SN2 displacements, amines and esters looking for receptor sites at the base of their ketones. Because he lugs home serious tomes like the Journal of the American Chemical Society or the Proceedings of the Society of the Plastics Industry, the opposites of the slim volumes of poetry with colorful covers that fill my bookshelves. Because once, years ago, on a Saturday, before our raucous sun rang in the dawn, he was just standing there in the bathroom, out of the shower. I said, "Honey, what's wrong?" And he said, "Oh, I was just thinking about a molecule." Because he taught me about sublimation, how a solid like ice can change straight to a gas without becoming liquid first. Because even after all this time together, he can still make me melt. A poem by Barbara Crooker, Why I Love Being Married to a Chemist, from Les Fauves, published by C&R Press and used by permission here on the Writer's Almanac. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.